So folks, a couple more seconds for the shutters. What we're going to do is reset. Ministers who want to stay can stay. The microphone will be here. Journalists will come in. Ministers who have to go to catch the flight, of course, understand. So that we can start that now.
This mic right here.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. The microphone's going to come here, Minister, and we're going to allow people to file in.
Okay, Robert. Okay, see you later. Be good.
I'm here for CCME.
Okay.
My
No, just a microphone would be great.
Just a mic. No.
This one's for the
Pardon? Right
Oh,
here.
is it okay? Yep.
Yeah, Miko aussi. Il y en a juste un.
Thank you.
That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the microphone from. Sorry, we're just testing. Excuse me, we didn't mean to interrupt. Anyway, yes, very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, we.
Il n'y a pas de micro chez eux?
Oui, ça s'en vient. Parce qu'on vient de faire la photo de famille.
What's that?
Microphone's on its way right now.
Because or else you're going to have to yell very loud. If there's no mic, you have to yell very loud.
There we are.
There you go.
Okay.
Sont où les
Oh,
autres?
perfect. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll get started in 30 seconds for those who want to go live. We'll start with David. We only have the one microphone. One question and a follow-up, please. Une question supplémentaire. Il est communiqué derrière vous. Minister Morneau will start with a brief statement, and then any ministers who wish to make a statement can, and then we'll take questions. Minister Morneau, go ahead.
Okay. There's no audio? Is it working now?
We have it in the room, but we don't have it here.
Okay. Sounds like it's just a CTV issue.
Do we have audio from the microphone over here? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
So let me just start by saying that our gender balance is much better than this. We actually have 4 out of the 14 in the room who are with us who are women, and they all had to catch planes. So there you go. Just a brief summary of our day. We had a great opportunity together to talk about Canadians, to talk about Canada, the finance ministers from the provinces and the territories and myself. I would say it was a positive day. Of course, in every day like this, you have important issues that come up. Really what I can tell you is that we recognize that faced with challenges in our trading environment, we need to stand shoulder to shoulder. We need to recognize that our opportunities together are much greater than when we're apart. And that was certainly an important part of our discussion today, how we can grow our economy, create opportunities for Canadians, and deal with trading issues in a way that's constructive and positive. Ce que je voudrais dire, nous avons eu une journée importante, des discussions importantes ensemble. C'était clair que nous devons travailler ensemble pour améliorer notre situation économique. Ça, c'était clair. Aussi, on a parlé au sujet de notre croissance économique, comment nous pouvons améliorer notre économie ensemble. Et bien sûr, comme toujours, il y a des défis importants entre nous, mais finalement, nous devons travailler ensemble. Donc, si vous avez des questions.
So if you have any questions, please proceed.
Peut-être juste rapidement mentionner qu'en effet, comme M. Morneau vient de
Mr.
mentionner, notre souhait le plus ardent, c'est de maintenir le consensus canadien pour faire face au vent contraire qui souffle de nos voisins du Sud, surtout dans les questions de commerce international, ont été très importantes dans cette réunion-ci. Et je pense que nous
And we
avons
discussed that
maintenu
at
le
this
consensus
meeting, and
canadien.
we have maintained that Canadian consensus.
L'économie canadienne,
The
québécoise se
Canadian
porte
and
très bien
Quebec
maintenant,
economies are
mais c'est
doing
clair
very
qu'il y a
well
de
right
grandes
now, but of
incertitudes.
course there's a lot of
Et ce que
uncertainty out there.
certains
And
dirigeants d'entreprise sont venus nous
some
dire aussi
CEOs
aujourd'hui à
came
midi,
to
c'est qu'il y a des
meet
questions
with us at
importantes
noon and said
à
that
cet
they
égard-là.
are
Il faut
facing some
qu'on
important
demeure tous
issues.
très unis au
So
Canada.
the fact is we remain completely united here in Canada.
Minister Morneau, while you guys were meeting today, the Trade Committee was hearing from a lot of companies concerned about the trade environment. One company, Patriot Forge, a specialty steel maker, is now paying tax on the steel products it exports to the United States, and starting on July the 1st, because it takes raw steel in from the United States, it's going to be paying a tariff now to Canada as well. And it was saying that it needs some help. It's ready to go to business. So I guess the question is, for companies like that, for all those sorts of companies who are going to be in a world of hurt next week, what will you do to help out Patriot Forge?
You know, it's really important for us to just state on the record, as we have, that we absolutely are going to stand behind Canadian businesses who are challenged by these tariffs. We're going to stand behind Canadians who are employed in the steel industry, but Canadians who are impacted by these tariffs. We will be talking more about that in the coming days. It is a critically important issue that we understand. Canadians want to see us supporting Canadian business, supporting Canadians, and I want you to know that you'll be hearing more about that shortly.
The CEO from Patriot Forge employs 250. He says he will be out of business within months of July 1st. I don't know if he's got coming days. It sounds like it's a very urgent matter for him and his business.
And what I can tell you is it's an urgent matter for us as well, and we're looking forward to providing Canadians with more information.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm going to follow up on that question. So you talked about standing shoulder to shoulder, Canadian consensus, standing behind Canadian businesses, and talking. But in 5 days, your counter tariffs will be in place, and this is a trade war. We're in it. And is there anything concrete that you can tell these business people out there that you're going to help them, but how exactly are you helping them?
We as we said, had an important day where we talked about, frankly, how well the Canadian economy is doing. But we did also talk about the risks to the economy based on the U.S. trade actions. Our view, our collective view, is that we do need to stand strong. We need to show resolve to demonstrate to the Americans that we absolutely believe that these tariffs that they've put on us are not appropriate. We've also said that we need to work together to improve our situation. That, in the first instance, of course, means that we're going to stand behind Canadian businesses that are finding themselves in a difficult situation. We also talked today about the importance of things like internal trade, how we can work together to actually deal with what we can deal with to improve our economy. So I think you'll be seeing efforts not only at the federal government level, but across the country in replying to Canadians about how we can stand together, both dealing with this threat and also improving our economy for the long run.
When you say internal trade, do you mean lifting interprovincial trade barriers?
One of the things that we will say to the premiers as we go back to, and I'll certainly be saying to the Prime Minister, is there's no better time for us to think about how we can work together more constructively than we're faced with an external challenge. And that's exactly one of the things that we'll be saying.
Mr. Morneau, Mr. Leto, once again, time is of the essence, and we heard today that there are very profound concerns among people in the steel, auto industry, and aluminum industry. When, in fact, you intend to put forward some measures? Well, we will be explaining those measures in the coming days, and that's very important. We know that it's important to be very clear with Canadians. And we intend to continue with the same approach and state clearly to the United States and Americans that those tariffs are unfair. And for us, it is absolutely clear that we need to explain that. At the same time, we will consider what we can do here in Canada to improve our economy. I would simply like to say that at this time, Mr. Couillard, the Premier of Quebec, is in Washington, where he talked to
Mr. Wilbur Ross.
Bon, moi, j'étais pas là, évidemment,
And
je
I
suis
wasn't
ici,
there,
mais
obviously, I was
des
here.
choses se sont
But
dites. Donc,
there
je
were
pense que
things
c'est
that
très
were
important
said,
que
and I think
continue
it's
à mentionner
important
aux États-Unis,
that
aux
we
Américains,
continue
que leurs
to
actions
make it
ne
clear
sont
to the
pas
U.S.
justifiées, ne sont
that
pas
their actions are
justifiables,
not
et qu'au bout de
justified
la
or
ligne,
justifiable, and that
c'est dommageable
ultimately
pour leur propre économie
that
ainsi
will
que la nôtre.
damage their
Alors, nous sommes
own
des alliés
economy as
depuis
well as
des
ours.
siècles.
So we have been friends and allies for centuries.
Il ne faudrait pas
And
défaire cette
we don't
alliance-là, mais on
want
va aussi, on va
to
pas se laisser pousser non plus. Et s'il faut réagir,
completely
on
destroy
réagit
that
vigoureusement.
alliance. But at the same time, when they react, we have to respond.
Just said the same thing that basically our premier was in Washington today, Monsieur Couillard, where he had a conversation with, among other people, with Mr. Wilbur Ross, where there was a frank exchange, as I understand it, where it was mentioned that Quebec, Canada, and the United States are trade partners and neighbors and allies for the last couple of centuries, and what has been going on in the last few months is just unacceptable. Friends don't do that to friends, and we express that very clearly. And both the federal government and the provincial governments, we stand behind our businesses to help them go through this rough patch.
En sous-question, Monsieur Morneau.
A sub-question, Mr. Morneau. I believe that today's players want to know in concrete terms what's going to happen. So, concretely, for example, will you be relaxing employment insurance, for example, for workers in the affected industries? Well, we will explain our measures in the coming days, as I said, and it's clear that we have to ensure that all those industries that are affected by these tariffs have a program in place to help them. And at the same time, we want to reassure employees that it's very important for us to put in place the appropriate measures to improve their situation. Well, we will have more to say about that in the coming days.
Mr. Morneau, are you not afraid that if this escalates, this is going to trigger a recession in Canada, especially amid the threat of auto tariffs, as the President has suggested?
We need to be really clear. We don't think that the tariffs that were put on Canada by the United States are helpful for the Canadian economy by any stretch of the imagination. We've expressed very clearly to the Americans that they actually are harmful to the U.S. economy. So this is not something that Canada has in any way taken as a Canadian policy. What we are doing is we are putting in place tariffs to respond to the U.S. tariffs, to demonstrate, as other countries have demonstrated, that these actions are not ones that are going to in any way improve any of our economies. We intend on getting back to the table with the Americans as soon as possible to talk about how we can move forward constructively to get to what we hope will be an improved NAFTA agreement. That is our goal. This is, in our estimation, not where we'd like to be, but it's a response that we think is appropriate in the situation.
With respect to a recession, I'd like to hear your views. Is that one of the increasing concerns? Over the weekend, we heard that there are concerns in the United States, and there are indicators that show that there could be a recession. So, is this a concern for us in Canada? Well, we certainly need to start with the facts. Right now, our economy is in a good position. We have a very good growth rate. Everything went well last year. And the level of unemployment is one of the lowest in many, many years. And so the conditions are still good in terms of the economy. But there is a problem in terms of our trade with the United States. That is a problem, and that's why we have to consider how we can be clear with the Americans. It's much better to look at how we can improve NAFTA in order to improve both of our economies, the U.S. and the Canadian economy. So it's clear that it's not constructive to have these tariffs put against us. That was their choice, but we have to be clear to them that if they take actions that adversely affect our interests, we will have to respond. I understand. But are there concerns out there that those tariffs could lead to a recession? There is always that kind of concern out there. If there are changes in trade, there can be problems. But I think we're in a good situation at this time, and we have to continue our discussions. And I do hope that we will be able to improve the situation with them, and that we'll be in a good position for the future.
Vous avez dit que vous allez annoncer des moyens d'ici quelques jours, sous peu.
You said you would be announcing measures soon. I'm wondering why we need to wait a few days to hear that. Why this delay? Well, we are doing our homework at this time, and it's important to develop an approach that's going to work, and that's what we're doing.
We are in the midst of completing our deliberations, and we'll have more to say about the tariffs and our responses in the coming days, very shortly. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. See you later. Thanks. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Heath. Thanks.
And you'll continue the same. Yeah. Including electricity.
Salut, oui.